With the majority of horror movies including the deaths of those involved, what happens when death does not win?
Your lemon squares taste like ass.
Welcome to my channel, my name is Em, aka Horror, and in today's video I will be discussing 10 horror movies where no one dies. Before I get into it, I just want to say I am not including the deaths of any animals or deaths that took place before the events of the movies. This video does include spoilers. The Entity, 1982. When a single mother, Carla Moran, is the subject of an horrific SA attack carried out by an invisible force, both herself and her children flee the home to go and stay with a friend. The next day, Carla's car goes out of control for no reason, almost killing her. She soon goes to a psychiatrist to discuss the events which have been taking place. She shows him marks on her body which could not have been caused by herself. However, he is adamant that these injuries are self-inflicted. She explains to him that she has experienced many traumas and that she was abused when she was younger, causing him to believe that what is happening to her is due to her own psychological trauma causing delusions. With multiple psychiatrists not believing her and the attacks persisting, she becomes angry when they tell her to admit herself to a psychiatric hospital and suggest that she may have incestuous feelings towards her son. When a friend witnesses one of the attacks, they seek help from a couple of parapsychologists who witness activity in her home along with Carla's boyfriend. Carla agrees to an experiment to try and catch the entity with helium, which turns out to be successful and is witnessed by her psychiatrist. The next day, Carla returns home and is greeted by a demonic voice. She leaves with her children and drives away from the property with a message at the end saying that she moved to Texas and still experiences attacks by the entity. Signs, 2002. Signs follows former priest Graham Hess, who lives on a farm with his 2 children in a rural part of Pennsylvania. 6 months before the events of the movie take place, Graham's wife died in a car crash, causing Graham to leave the church. When crop circles start to appear on his land, he initially dismisses it. However, when similar events start happening elsewhere and beings appear in the middle of one of the family's fields, he realises that it is more than what he initially thought. Alien sightings have now been reported over the world, which soon end up on the Hess family's doorstep, causing terror to the family. Whilst being under attack by one of the aliens, the family quickly discover that water harms the creature and eventually kills it. When helping his son who was injured by the alien, he realises that his son will be okay and puts this down to intervention from a more powerful force, leading him to rejoin the church. April Fool's Day, 1986. A group of college friends take a trip to one of their cousins' mansions for spring break weekend, which just so happens to be the weekend leading up to April Fool's Day. When they get to the mansion, it's revealed that Muffy, whose mansion it is, has set up pranks to go in line with April Fool's Day, with some pranks being innocent and others being more disturbing. The group are enjoying their time until one member, Skip, goes missing. Another of the friends sees what they believe to be Skip's dead body, which freaks them out. In no time, more members of the group start to go missing, leading to the others to search for them. When the search is taking place, one of the females, Nikki, falls into a well and finds the severed heads and bodies of her friends. Soon enough, each member goes missing, leaving only 2 friends remaining. The duo uncover clues which make them realise that they have been deceived by Muffy, who is in fact Buffy, her insane twin sister. Buffy chases the pair with a knife, separating them, and Kit ends up in the living room, only to find that all of their friends are alive and well, and the whole thing has been one big joke, as Muffy plans on turning the mansion into a horror-themed attraction. The movie ends with Muffy finding a jack-in-the-box that has been left as a present on her bed, and one of the friends sneaks up behind her to slit her throat. However, this is just another practical joke, and the last we see is the jack-in-the-box winking at the camera. The Conjuring, 2013. Based on one of the Warrens' real investigations, The Conjuring is set around the Perron family, who move into an old farmhouse. When they start to experience some paranormal activity in the property and the mother of the family, Carolyn, starts to wake up with unexplained bruises, they contact the Warrens, who attend the house to investigate. Lorraine sees a dark force who has attached itself to the family, and whilst conducting their investigations, they place numerous objects around the house to try and get evidence of the force which is lingering. They discover through research that the house used to belong to a witch named Bathsheba, who sacrificed her baby to the devil. Bathsheba possesses Carolyn, and when Lorraine figures this out, they arrange for an exorcism to take place, removing the remainder of the family out of the home. When Carolyn kidnaps two of her daughters with intent to kill them, Ed takes it upon himself to conduct the exorcism. When this starts to get out of hand, Lorraine reminds Carolyn of a better time through a family memory, which allows Ed to complete the exorcism, releasing Carolyn from the hands of Bathsheba's possession. Flatliners, 1990. Flatliners is based around 5 medical students who take part in an experiment to gain more information on what happens when you die. They begin by stopping their hearts for short periods of time to see what evidence they can find. Each time that they take part in the experiment, they experience visions which are in line with their lifestyles and things they have done in the past. When taking part in the experiment, one of the students, Rachel, almost dies as there is a power cut which disables the defibrillator. While she does survive this, she is haunted by visions of her father's death. Taunted by their experiences, the students try to make right of what they have done wrong in the past. However, all 5 still experience paranormal activity due to the experiment they have taken part in. One of the members of the group, Nelson, apologises to Rachel for getting her involved, as he feels this is all his fault as it was his idea. He tells Rachel that he needs to flatline one more time to make amends for his mistakes. In a race to stop Nelson from putting himself in danger, the remaining members of the group rush to him. However, he has been flatlined for 9 minutes. The group begin to try and revive him. During his time being flatlined, Nelson is forgiven by the ghost of a boy called Billy, as Nelson believes it was his fault that Billy died. Upon being forgiven, Nelson is brought back to life by one last shock from another member of the group. The Babadook, 2014. The Babadook follows single mother Amelia Vanek, who lost her husband in a car accident whilst he was driving her to the hospital when she was going through labour. Her son Sam, who is now 6, starts to behave in an unpredictable manner, which is causing issues at school. Sam begins to have an imaginary friend, and when Amelia reads him a bedtime story, she becomes troubled by its contents and is confused as to where the book has come from. The storybook is about a monster called Mr. Babadook, who Sam has started to believe is real. Bizarre events start to happen around the house, which Amelia blames Sam for. However, he explains to her that this is an actual fact, the Babadook. Due to his excuses, Amelia gets rid of the book. When Sam is at his cousin's birthday party, she starts to bully him, which results in Sam pushing her out of the treehouse, breaking her nose. Later on, Sam has a vision of the Babadook and suffers a seizure. The book has mysteriously turned back up at the house with new words and contents inside. Amelia burns the book and reports a strange phone call that she has had to the police. During that night, Amelia gets attacked by the Babadook and starts to become violent towards Sam, but not before she kills the family dog. She later gets possessed by the Babadook and tries to kill her son. When Sam shows her love by caressing her face, the possession ends and the Babadook leaves her body. Shortly after, an invisible entity drags Sam into Amelia's bedroom. Amelia saves him and whilst doing so has a vision revisiting her husband's death. She confronts the Babadook and locks it in the basement. Both Amelia and Sam start to slowly recover from the events. At Sam's birthday, they gather a bowl of worms and Amelia takes it down to the basement to give to the Babadook. He tries to attack her, however she soothes him and he backs off, taking the worms with him, whilst Amelia goes back up to the garden to celebrate her son's birthday. 1408, 2007. In 1408, we follow Mike, a skeptic supernatural events author. He receives a postcard from an anonymous sender depicting the Dolphin Hotel in New York. The postcard has the message, "Don't enter 1408. Being a man who likes a challenge, he visits the hotel and asks to stay in the room. Despite the hotel manager warning him that nobody has lasted over an hour in the room in 95 years and providing him with the latest death count, Mike insists that he stays in the room. He has taken a cassette player with him and records his visit, initially stating that the room is boring and no supernatural events are taking place. However, the room does not stay quiet for long, and Mike starts to see the ghosts of the room's victims and deceased family members. He tries to leave the room, but he's unable to, so he seeks help from his wife Lily on his laptop through a video call. The room's temperature has soared and the sprinklers have been activated due to the temperature, which causes the laptop to fail, but not before a doppelganger of Mike appears on the video call, encouraging Lily to come to the hotel. Water starts to flood the room after Mike crashes into a picture of a ship in a storm, and he relives a surfing accident from his past. Mike is recovering in hospital where his wife Lily shows up. He assumes that the events from 1408 were all a nightmare, and Lily tells him that he should write a book about the events. When visiting the post office to send a script to the publisher, he sees some construction crew who he recognises as staff members from the hotel. It turns out that Mike is still trapped inside room 1408. After further paranormal experiences in the room, he sets the room on fire, destroying it. The hotel is quickly evacuated, and the manager praises Mike for what he has done. The Others, 2001. Mother of two, Grace lives in a remote country house in Jersey. Her children, Anne and Nicholas, both suffer from an illness which causes them to be sensitive to light. Due to this, the house is always kept in darkness, with the curtains always being closed. One day, Grace hires 3 people who used to work at the property, as they have appeared at her door looking for employment. When Grace's daughter, Anne, starts to say that she is being visited by a young boy whose name is Victor, as well as his family, Grace dismisses this, believing Anne is making it up. However, creepy events start to happen around the property, which leads Grace to believe that the house is haunted. One night, Grace witnesses the piano playing all by itself and runs outside to search for the local priest to bless the house. She asks one of the new employers to go and check the nearby cemetery to see if a family have been buried there. When on her way to look for the priest, Grace runs into her husband, who she believed was killed in the war. He stays with the family for a short while, but he's not warm towards the family and seems to be suffering from a stress disorder. When Grace checks on her daughter playing, she sees an old woman wearing her daughter's communion dress. She attacks the woman and then realises that it is in fact her own daughter. The next day, all of the curtains have been removed from the windows, exposing the children to sunlight. Accusing the new workers of doing this, she releases them from their duties and asks them to leave the house. However, this is not the last that she sees of the 3 workers, as she finds post-mortem photos of them in the property. It is unravelled that the old lady who Grace saw as her daughter is in fact a medium, and Victor and his parents are the new owners of the house after Grace smothered her children and took her own life. Realising the truth that her entire family is dead, she embraces her children and learns that she will have to cohabit with any owners of the house. The Watcher in the Woods, 1980. An American family, Helen and Paul Curtis, moved to England with their 2 daughters, where they live in a manor house. The owner of the residence notices that one of the daughters, Jan, looks exactly like her daughter Karen, who disappeared years ago in an abandoned chapel. Jan starts to see strange lights and shapes coming from the woods, and even sees the apparition of a girl in her mirror. Jan's sister Ellie goes to buy a puppy who she names Nerak, which is Karen spelt backwards. When Jan meets a local teenage boy, Mike, he tells her about Karen's disappearance. One day, Nerak runs into the woods with Ellie chasing after him. When Jan realises that her sister has disappeared, she goes into the woods where she finds her by a pond. Lights start to appear from the water, and when a flash of light causes Jan to fall in, Mrs. Aylwood, the owner of the property, helps Jan and takes her and Ellie home, where she tells them about her daughter. The teenage boy who Jan had met earlier discovered that his mother was with Karen when she went missing. In an attempt to gain more information of what happened on the night of Karen's disappearance, Jan encounters a local hermit who tells her he was also present when Karen went missing. It is uncovered that a seance-like ceremony took place and Karen vanished when lightning struck the chapel during a lunar eclipse. With a solar eclipse coming up, Jan decides to recreate the ceremony that took place on that night, hoping it would bring Karen back. Whilst conducting the ceremony, Ellie is watching the eclipse from her garden and suddenly goes into a trance-like state and enters the woods. In her trance, Ellie reveals that on the night that Karen went missing, there was a switch that took place which traded Karen's place with an alien presence who has been haunting the woods ever since. The movie ends with the recreation being successful and Karen appearing as the same age she was on the night she went missing. Karen removes her blindfold as her mother enters the chapel. Annabelle Comes Home, 2019. Another movie that follows Ed and Lorraine Warren is Annabelle Comes Home. The movie starts with Ed and Lorraine driving their car with Annabelle in the back when evil spirits attack Ed. They lock Annabelle in a glass case to contain the evil inside. As the couple are due to travel to investigate a case, their daughter's babysitter Mary Ellen stays at the home to look after their daughter Judy. Mary Ellen's friend Daniela unexpectedly shows up and secretly makes her way down to the basement where all of the Warrens' artefacts are kept, including Annabelle. Whilst in the basement, she releases not only Annabelle's spirit, but the spirits of other artefacts. The spirits start to terrorise the Warrens' daughter Judy, Mary Ellen and her friends as another friend has arrived at the property. When Judy realises what has happened, she tells the group that they need to get Annabelle back in her case so the other spirits will also disappear. Daniela gets possessed and Mary Ellen and Judy scramble to get all of the artefacts back where they belong. Once Annabelle is put back in her case, the events stop and everything goes back to as if it didn't happen. The next day it's Judy's birthday party where Mary Ellen and Daniela attend. Daniela apologises to Lorraine for what she has done and Lorraine gives her a message from her deceased father. So as always, what do you guys think? Do you know of any other horror movies where nobody dies? Let me know down in the comments section. Thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe as I will be uploading more content like this. You can check out my other content here. With that being said, I will see you in the next video.